Antonio Rüdiger never blinks when the referee points to the spot. Why would he? The pressure swirling around a last gasp penalty inside a roaring stadium is nothing compared with the weight he carried as a boy who kept his birth certificate in his pocket just to prove he belonged in the country where he was born. From the red zone streets of Neukölln to the marble halls of the Bernabéu, every step forward felt like sprinting through ankle-deep mud. So, when the 31-year-old German Sierra Leonean defender drilled the decisive kick past Ederson to knock out Manchester City in April 2024, then calmly jogged toward the corner flag while his teammates dissolved into a white pile of relief, it was simply another day paying interest on an impossible debt. But the letter Florentino Pérez sent him 3 months later, the one handwritten in looping, old-school Spanish cursive, would change everything again, and in a way even Rüdiger's ironclad imagination never saw coming. Yet before the royal seal arrived, before the trophies and the fines and the sudden pivot from outcast to talisman, there was hunger, rejection, and a promise he made to an 8-year-old version of himself. If the door won't open, I'll kick the hinges off. That promise forged a human battering ram. And tonight, we're cracking open every scar and secret that built the man Madridistas now call their lucky charm. Berlin, March 3rd, 1993. Technically, Germany. Practically nowhere. Neukölln's immigrant blocks didn't just smell of kebabs and diesel, they smelled of suspicion. Kids who looked like Antonio walked to school under invisible quotas. One hoodie too many, and the police stopped you for a friendly chat. That's why Mama Lily taught him to recite his ID number like scripture and slide the card beneath his tongue when the sirens flashed blue. When an excursion letter demanded 10 euros he didn't have, Antonio watched her smile snap in half. The rocks he'd later literally swallowed during dares with older boys felt softer than that moment. Football, though, was a currency the neighborhood understood. Concrete cages behind graffitied apartment blocks became arenas where he traded bruises for respect. By 11, he was begging Berlin academies for a trial, only to hear the same refrain. "We already have a center back, thanks." The subtext screamed louder. Wrong skin, wrong bulletin board photo op. Even so, the kid kept coming back, sometimes offering to play keeper, or, if that failed, to fetch water bottles. Whatever bought another 10 minutes on grass. It took 4 years of closed gates before one coach at TB Berlin muttered, "Fine, show me." Rüdiger's audition was pure controlled mayhem. Shoulder barges, lung-stretching sprints, a vertical leap that snapped the bar on a rusty old jump tester. The staff didn't love his technique, but they feared his determination. That fear earned him a jersey. Overnight, the boy grew 2 skills deadlier than any slide tackle: patience and opportunism. When Dortmund's scouts swung through in 2008, he treated a half-speed friendly like a Champions League final, stealing balls from golden-haired prodigies the club did want. They took him anyway, for 6 confused months. "Not the profile," the letter said when they cut him loose. Profile? He memorized the word, spat it out, and swore never to let anyone else define it again. By 2015, Rome called, trading one Colosseum for another. Serie A sharpened his instincts the way broken glass sharpens a blade, because every away match brought monkey chants that slithered from stands like smoke. He tried earplugs. He tried raw fury. Eventually, he tried playing so well the sound drowned itself. And it worked. Sort of. Scouts across Europe circled. Jose Mourinho nudged Chelsea's hierarchy until they signed him for 45 million euros in 2017. Inside London's dressing room, he found champions who measured themselves in silver, not stereotypes. Before his first Premier League season was over, Joachim Löw slid his name onto Germany's Confederations Cup roster. Lifting that trophy in St. Petersburg should have silenced every ghost, except it didn't. Beneath the confetti, he felt like a tourist borrowing someone else's flag. So he forged meaning the only way he knew. Tackling harder, sprinting faster, screaming louder than the doubts. Frank Lampard's managerial stint began with nostalgia and ended with confusion. Somewhere in between, Rüdiger became collateral. Benched without explanation, he watched slower defenders stumble through match days while tabloids hinted at attitude issues. He vented in training, clattering teammates demanding their best. The locker room split. Some respected the blunt honesty, others whispered insubordination. When results cratered, the board fired Lampard, too late to erase half a season of rust from Rüdiger's boots. Summer 2022 became a blur. Tuchel out, new owners in, and contract talks stuck in bureaucratic honey. Enter Florentino Pérez. The Real Madrid president could have sent an agent. Instead, he sent parchment, ink, and an invitation dripping with history. The shirt is heavy, but it will fit. The romantic gesture hit home. Rüdiger signed before the letter dried. Madrid demanded adaptation, Spanish heat, positional tweaks, the microscope of national media. He handled it by going full gladiator. By April 2024, he smashed home that now mythic penalty against City, then helped Madrid sneak past Atletico in another nerve-shredding shootout. In June, they blanked Borussia Dortmund at Wembley to lift a 15th European crown, their first since 2022. Somewhere in the chaos, he tangled with Kylian Mbappé during a quarter-final, and the victory dance cost him €40,000 in fines. UEFA's morality police may clip checks, but they can't clip wings. Every clutch moment fed Madridistas' new superstition. If Rüdiger is laughing his manic laugh, Los Blancos are safe. So what changed? Not the muscles. Those were always granite. What changed was the emotional math. He learned to convert humiliation into fuel without overdosing on the smoke. He prays before kickoff, cracks jokes in the tunnel, then flips a mental switch the instant the whistle blows. "When I'm on the pitch," he once told a Spanish radio host, "I become the problems my younger self couldn't solve." That philosophy turned him into Sergio Ramos's spiritual successor. Last-ditch blocks, brave headers, clenched-teeth leadership. Teammates swear his locker room speeches feel less like tactics and more like cinematic trailers. One minute he quotes Martin Luther King Jr., the next he's teasing Vinicius about haircut choices. The blend of humor and menace lets younger players exhale while older pros nod approvingly. And when the distance between victory and obituary shrinks to millimeters, think 119th minute versus Real Sociedad in the Copa del Rey semi, he's often the one launching his 6'3" frame at a loose ball, trusting chaos to break his way. Success, however, is a jealous landlord. With every trophy, the rent rises, critics poke at passing accuracy, pundits question discipline, rival fans drudge up old footage. This season alone, he has faced 3 separate VAR investigations. None stuck, but each stole a slice of sleep. And although Madrid's medical staff marvel at his granite quads, they monitor chronic knee flare-ups earned on German concrete squares long before he tasted manicured grass. Antonio Rüdiger's life reads like a fable written on broken glass. Sharp, dangerous, and unexpectedly reflective. Every no he absorbed became scaffolding for a higher yes, until the youngster who once begged to clean boots for pitch time morphed into the man whose autograph can silence a stadium. He isn't perfect. Yellow cards pile up, fines appear, tempers flare. But perfection was never the goal. Survival was. And now, with survival mastered, he has chosen legacy. So, next time you watch him trot to the penalty spot with that half smile, half snarl, remember the passport hidden in a sneaker, the racist taunts reframed as applause, the letter signed by a president who smelled destiny. Remember that he's not just clearing a ball or converting a kick. He's repaying a childhood debt with compound interest. And if today's story leaves you questioning whether grit can outrun circumstance, just keep your eyes on number 22. Because the moment doubters raise their voices, Antonio Rüdiger tends to raise the trophy.